Welcome into Straight Up Sports. I am your host, Devin Albertson. On this show, I start off the week talking college football on Mondays, followed up with the NFL on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, I dive into the world of Division II football. And finally, on Thursdays, I will tackle Missouri 8-man football. On Fridays, I will review what I talked about Monday through Thursday. Also, want to make sure to ask you to follow Straight Up Sports on Twitter at show_straight and to follow my personal account at Devin Albertson. Straight Up Sports starts now. And welcome into Straight Up Sports NFL Show edition. After week one, it was a fun week one. Going back and forth. Football is back. I watched, 9 or 12 straight hours of football, whatever it was there on Sunday night. So much fun. 2 games on Monday there. Just a lot of fun watching those games unfold. Football's finally back. It's here. You get to see actual games. There's less projection and more like, okay, actual games. Let's see what we think happened and if that came true or not. So it's a lot more fun to see what happened here. And first, I'm going to go through my thoughts from week one. Mahomes is the real deal in Kansas City. He is so much fun to watch. His arm strength is off the charts. And not just the deep balls that everybody talks about consistently. It's the intermediate passes as well that just get there in a hurry. Follow Seth Kaiser on Twitter. I think it's something real Chiefs fan. I don't know, I retweet him quite a bit. He does KC Chiefs film review. Look at his stuff and how he breaks down Mahomes. Great stuff there with him. He broke down the Watkins slant catch that he had that set up the Anthony Thomas touchdown early in the third quarter, I think it was, and how much arm strength was needed to get that ball there between two underneath defenders and in front of the safety there on that deep slant. That was a heck of a throw by Mahomes that gets overlooked a bit because it's just an average play by most fans. You look at the All-22 tape and you realize how precise that throw is. Even the touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill that went for the long gain, it was a no-look pass with a man in his face on a line across the middle, hitting Hill in stride. That was so beautiful. He faked out not one, not two, but 3 Charger defenders on there who all went towards the flat as the ball was zipping by him across the middle of the field to the speedster Tyreek Hill, who had a phenomenal ball game there for the Chiefs with a punt return and 2 touchdowns receiving, 169 yards and 7 catches. Mahomes, I think it was 15 for 27 for 256 yards and 4 touchdowns. I know 2 of them were pretty cheap because they were pretty much handoffs to DeAnthony Thomas and Tyreek Hill, but they count as passes. You got to count them in the record in the official box score as touchdown passes. I want to see how he handles Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's given the Chiefs all sorts of troubles in the past, especially on offense. That zone defense had really messed with the Chiefs' offense a bit there. And some of that, I'm a huge Alex Smith supporter, but some of that was because Smith did not have the arm strength to beat those zones. Mahomes does. I expect Pittsburgh to bring some pressure and try to get him off his spot. The good thing is, Mahomes off his spot is almost as good as Mahomes in his spot. That pass he had on 3rd and 13 to Tyreek Hill for 20 to 30 yard gain down the sideline, beautiful. Mahomes is going to be a lot of fun to watch. He hadn't made that big mistake yet. He almost did on that tip catch that got called back for a penalty there in the second half. He's learned how to get down a little bit when he runs and learn how to slide right, but Mahomes is showing the makings of a star in the NFL. Can't wait to see what he does this week. And the Chiefs put 38 points up in pretty much 3 quarters without Watkins or Kelsey or even Hunt doing a whole lot offensively. So they weren't even running on full cylinders yet. And they had all that. And also, Anthony Sherman catching a touchdown pass on a wheel route. Awesome. Just phenomenal there. Up next, ties suck. I hate ties. I always hated that. I remember when I was in 6th grade, my high school had a fun night thing where you played basketball. They'd have volunteers ref it and you would play. We were tied. They wouldn't let us keep playing to decide a winner. I hated it. I still argue to this day I hate ties, even for stuff that's for fun, let alone NFL games. Ties suck. They should not be allowed in football. The NFL continues to get this wrong. Give me college football's overtime rules all day long over the NFL rules. It creates urgency. It's fun. It's exciting. That's what I like with my overtime rules. Give me the college football one. So that, of course, relates to the Browns-Steelers game ending in a tie at 21-21. And only the Browns could end a losing streak with a tie, not a win. So that's just Cleveland all day. They're still waiting to open up the fridges there to serve free beer to Cleveland Browns fans, the whole 30 of them. Up next, Luck's return wasn't enough for the Colts to beat Cincy. He was driving him late, hit Doyle, the tight end, over the middle. He fumbled, Cincinnati scoop and score, and just like that, it was a ball game. I feel bad for Luck. He has all the talent in the world. He actually played decently well, had a couple mistakes to hit the rust off, but he was driving them down to try to win that game late. And just unfortunate turnover really just ended their day. And I think that he's going to be good this year. He's going to get them a couple more wins they were expecting. The Colts are going to be good. Just unfortunate they're late in the game for Cincinnati. The Vikings defense is still elite. I watched that game versus the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo did not look comfortable whatsoever. I wouldn't either against that defense. And Kirk Cousins makes them so dangerous on offense. His touchdown passes to Rudolph and Diggs, effortless, especially one of Diggs, which is beautiful. So the Vikings are a very dangerous football team. The New England Patriots made Watson look pedestrian. I called Watson being rusty before the game on the show last week. I was right. I'm glad I was right. It just makes me look smart, and that doesn't happen a whole lot, so I'm glad it happened there. And then up next, are the Ravens actually good, or are the Bills just terrible? I'm leaning more to the Bills are terrible right now, but the Ravens are going to be decent to a good playoff team. Only time will tell. Maybe the Bills make a quarterback change. Peterman is obviously not the answer there in Buffalo, no matter how much Sean McDermott thinks he is. So we'll see what happens there with those two squads. Ravens have one of my games of the week this week with Cincinnati. The Bills host the Chargers, so we'll see if the Bills can bounce back there. Upset of the week last week with the Buccaneers beating the Saints on the road 48-40. Combined 88 points, fireworks. Might as well have been a Big 12 game down there in New Orleans. The Saints defense from 2 years ago returned. And just ugly there for the Saints. The Saints were actually my pick in a survivor pool I have with a few of my friends, so that was just brilliant, Devin. But then again, I was agreeing with half the guys in my chat, and that just didn't go well. Up next, this is Andrew Wegley's boy. Alex Smith keeps winning, even with the Redskins. The Cardinals have some work to do in that game. Washington was up 21-0. Alex Smith, efficient, got the win, does what he does. Nothing flashy, but 250 yards, 255, I believe, and 2 touchdowns, 60 to 70% completion percentage. That's what he does. Alex Smith, another win there. Up next, Dak Prescott is not progressing as a quarterback. I'm really frustrated with him. I always thought he was a bit overrated, even that first year when he exploded onto the scene. The Cowboys were winning a bunch of games. I never thought it was Dak Prescott, though. I never thought he was the one who was orchestrating it all. I thought he was just a quarterback who is riding along a great situation there. Situation's diminished a bit now, and he hasn't stepped up for it. So I think he's a bit overrated, like Dallas is over a year, because they're America's team, quote unquote. So we'll see what happens going forward. But I'm just not a believer in Dak Prescott, which is why I did not have them making the playoffs this year in the NFC. Up next, Sunday night football game. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He is so good, coming back from a 20-0 deficit, 20-3, going into the fourth quarter, threw 3 touchdown passes there. The first one that he threw into the corner of the end zone, that is a beautiful pass. Only a few guys in the league could ever think about making that pass. Aaron Rodgers is one of them. Just amazing there. You had almost little doubt in your mind when you had the ball that last possession that Cobb had the big touchdown, that Rodgers wasn't going to drive him down and score anyways. That's just how good the Packers are. Sam Darnold looked good in his debut. Outside the first throw, which was an interception for a pick 6 for Detroit, that's probably Detroit's last good highlight of the night. Darnold looked good after that. He has a bright future. He was my favorite quarterback coming out of the draft this past year, so I'm glad he's playing well there for the Jets. The Giants could regret not picking him. You know, Saquon Barkley did have an 87-yard touchdown run versus the Jaguars, and that lost 20-15. And finally, the John Gruden era did not start off on the right note. The Rams defense locked down the Raiders in the second half. Nothing going there. The receivers couldn't do anything versus Talib and Peters there. Peters ended up having a pick 6 to close the game out. Just the Rams are going to be good this year. Just accept it. There's way too much talent on that team. If they stay healthy, they are a bona fide Super Bowl contender. They could be dangerous. If Jared Goff just does his job, he's not great. He's nothing special. But Sean McVay is such a good play caller, such a good play designer, that they're going to be able to get by with Goff with the weapons he has around him. And finally, one more thing. The new rule where you can't land on a quarterback no matter what is just absolute crap. I hate it. Everything with my bones, I hate it. I get you want to protect the quarterbacks. I get that's a point of emphasis this year. But there's only so much you could do in a football. It's a violent game, okay? It's physical. You have to get over that part. People are going to get hurt. It's going to be unfortunate. I know Rodgers got hurt last year versus Minnesota, but some of these plays, like, if you're a defensive lineman, you got to bring down a quarterback who is 6'5", 220 as it is, and athletic and trying to avoid you. You hit him, you're going to fall on him to make sure he goes down. You get a penalty flag for that, 15 yards? Nuts. Ridiculous. The Cleveland game, I know Myles Garrett got one for hitting Big Ben and driving to the ground. Big Ben's ginormous. He's Big Ben for a reason. He might as well be the clock tower in London, okay? I don't understand this rule sometimes. I get you don't want any violent hits. I agree with the call they had in Cincinnati's game versus Indianapolis where Luck was pretty much sliding down and the DB came out of nowhere and just hit him right in the head. You can't do that. But the quarterback is in the pocket and he just releases it, and the next moment the defensive lineman hits him. That's not roughing the passer. Even if he falls on him, I don't care. And some of these are even like during a sack and you land on him. That's not roughing the passer. That's not a thing. I don't understand why they made this rule. Is not good for the sport. It's not good for the defensive players, where it's already so hard to get to the quarterback anyways, or if you even breathe on him, it's a penalty. I don't like it. So that's where I am right now. Picks last week did pretty good, especially in the straight-up picks. I had Atlanta +1 at Philadelphia. Eagles won 18-12. I did have the Niners +6.5 at Minnesota, but I thought Minnesota would win. The Vikings won by 8, 24-16. So, yeah, hit or miss on that one. Houston at New England. I had New England -6.5. They did win that one 27-20, so I got that one. Score was closer than the game felt, though. I felt New England dominated that game. Watson was very uneasy in that game for Houston. Did not look sharp. KC at Los Angeles, the Chargers. I had KC +3.5 winning outright. Booyah. Got that one 138-28 as the Chargers could not catch Tyreek Hill, which nobody can. Also, Phillip Rivers is still a crybaby. Well, and this is what I don't like about Phillip Rivers in that game, in the press conference afterwards. He was like, well, you take away their punt return and our fumbled punt, and we catch a few more passes that we dropped, and we usually win that game. Well, it's like, yes. You take away the other team's best two big explosive plays in the special teams, and you make no mistakes, you're probably going to win the football game. It's pretty, like, duh. I don't know, like, you just making excuses there in my mind. You lost. You got punked. 9 straight times you lost to the Chiefs. Get better. I don't know. Be better. There, Rivers. And last one here, it was Dallas at Carolina. I had Carolina +3 and winning outright. They did. They won 16-8 in that one. So overall, 4-1. The only game I got wrong there was the Falcons game against the spread. 3-2 got the Falcons and the Niners wrong in there against the spread. And now we go to our week 2 games. First one, Thursday Night Football on the NFL Network. Baltimore -1 in this one on the road. And I do like Baltimore. I know Dalton had a decent game last week against Indianapolis. This is a different animal here with this Ravens defense. They made the Buffalo Bills look terrible last week. Some of that's on the Bills for being the Bills, but that defense is really good for the Falcons. Flacco looks better this year. He looks like motivated this year. So watch out for Baltimore. And I just don't trust Cincinnati even at home. So Baltimore -1 in this one. Up next, I have Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Now, it's a 5-point spread in this one. Steelers are favored at home. The Steelers have given the Chiefs all sorts of trouble in the past, winning those games. Le'Veon Bell has run wild in those games. Le'Veon Bell will not be in this game. It'll be James Conner running the ball for him in his weird haircut. He had a nice game last week. You see there with the 31 carries, 135 yards and 2 touchdowns and a fumble. But he looked really good last week. Also good out of the backfield. Juju had almost 120 yards on 5 catches last week for the Steelers. But Big Ben, 3 picks. They had 6 total turnovers. Fun fact for you, 137 times the team has been +5 in the turnover margin in the NFL in a game. 132 times that team wins. 4 times they've lost, and 1 time they've tied. Cleveland is responsible for the tie and 2 of the losses. So Cleveland's a bit of a disaster still. They're trying to get things figured out. And I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I really do. I just don't think the Chiefs can go to Pittsburgh and win this one yet. I think maybe by the end of the year when they get that defense figured out a little bit, maybe. And I think Mahomes keeps this one close on the road. I think he's going to shine a bit. He also might throw him a couple mistakes there against that zone defense. Pittsburgh's going to throw at him with a couple of pressures. They might get a turnover or 2. I think Pittsburgh wins by 3, though. So KC +5, but the Steelers win the game by about a field goal. So, also, I don't think Barry plays in this game, which makes the Chiefs secondary much worse. Juju and Antonio Brown will be problems this week for the Chiefs. Also, the Chiefs could not cover a running back to save their life last week, so James Conner out of the backfield is going to be super dangerous. So, not a whole lot of positives with the Chiefs' defense besides like D Ford and Ron Parker, which didn't expect to see that after week 1. Also, Fuller looked good. You can hear his name a lot because they didn't go at him because he's a good corner. But the Chiefs, we'll see what they do here. But I do have them +5. The next game I have is Carolina and Atlanta. And if you look at this game, the Falcons, when I got it, were a 5.5 point favorite. It's going to be noon on Fox. I think Carolina covers the 5.5, but I think Atlanta wins the game. It's going to be a 3-point game, I think, back and forth. I just think Matt Ryan's going to be a little more accurate this week. They're going to get the red zone stuff figured out a little bit more this week against a tough Carolina defense, where I think makes this game close. I still think that Cam Newton's a little bit erratic. Wasn't great throwing last week. Was a pretty good runner against the Cowboys. But the Carolina defense, led by Luke Kuechly, is good enough to keep this game close. Carolina +5.5, but the Falcons win straight up. Up next, after that, we have Philadelphia and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers is the surprise of week 1. Fitzmagic, baby. 21 of 28, 417 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He was electric. Mike Evans, 7 catches for 147 yards and a touchdown. They were so good against the Saints. Unfortunately, they're playing the Eagles defense now and not the Saints defense. That's going to be a big change for them, even at home. And I think Fitzmagic only lasts for a week. I think it only strikes once for this week, this year, for the first month of the season, at least for Tampa. Eagles roll, I think, as Tampa comes back to earth. Eagles defense is just so physical. If you want a group of guys, I know heard a couple national shows this week. If you want a group of guys who just want to get in a street fight and just fight, the Eagles defense is where it's at. They have a bunch of dudes on that defense. They're really good. They're going to show up. If they need to stop late, they're going to get a stop. So I have a lot of faith in that Eagles front seven and that secondary to get stops here. Nick Foles will play a little bit better versus the Tampa Bay defense that really struggled versus the Saints, which a lot of teams are going to this year. Philadelphia -3 in this one, and I feel pretty confident about that pick, which means they'll probably be totally wrong. But I have confidence for right now. Last pick of the day, Patriots at Jaguars, 3:25 on CBS. You have the great matchup of Brady versus Bortles. I just don't trust Bortles in a game against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I just don't. Their offense isn't explosive enough. And I think the Patriots have just too many options. They don't have a lot of great receivers, but when they get the ball out so fast and just get 6-7 yards a pop there, and Gronk is the ultimate weapon there in the red zone. Anytime they get close, they can just throw it up to him. He can go up and get it. So New England, just too talented. I think you're too well schemed in this game. I think they go on the road to Jacksonville and get a win here. -2 is my pick. New England -2 against Blake Bortles and the Jaguars. Even though the Jags did play him well in the playoffs last year in the AFC Championship game, just not trusting Blake Bortles against Belichick ran defense. So that's my picks for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So I got Baltimore -1 at Cincinnati, KC +5 at Pittsburgh winning, Carolina +5.5 at Atlanta, but Atlanta winning, Eagles -3, and Patriots -2. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Follow the show account on Twitter at show_straight. Follow my Twitter at Devin Albertson. Enjoy it. Share the show. If you have disagreements, let me know. I always love talking about sports with you guys. We'll have my D2 football show. We probably won't come out till Thursday. And Mo 8-Man football will also come out Thursday, so keep an eye out for those. I'll post them on Twitter and probably on Facebook as well. So that's what we have for you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know if you like the show or not. Signing off now for Straight Up Sports, Devin Albertson.